Hello, everybody. BJ from the Basketball Society here. And what Marshawn Lynch say, we all know why I'm here. We all know why I showed up. It's the Google Hangout with the crew before Game 5, previewing things. Let's see if the Warriors can close it out, win their second championship in 3 years. Or will King James be sending this thing back to the land and will all basketball hell be breaking loose? I'm with my guy, Randy, with my guy, Kyle.
What's up, everybody?
And with my guy, Alec Walt.
What's up?
So, you guys, let's just hop right into things. We know what is at stake in this game. Obviously, Golden State wins. They become world champs. Cleveland wins. We're going to hear nothing but Cavs in 7. And it's going to be flashbacks of last year's finals. So tell me, what do you guys think is going to happen tonight? Are you guys expecting Golden State to kind of pull this one out, or do you think we're going to be headed back to the land?
I think it'll be closer than most are expecting. I think the Warriors do pull this one out. That the Cavaliers will not be able to shoot the way they did. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to shoot as poorly as they did in Game 3, but they won't be able to shoot as well as they did in Game 4. I also think that, the way that Klay Thompson has come on this finals after a pretty poor performance for his standards in his last 2 finals, I think that's been the key difference maker, and that's what could be the key difference maker tonight. If the Cavs aren't hitting, the only way I think that they are and are pretty close is if they make it a pretty physical game. I think if they make it physical, that's going to, maybe stir the Warriors up a little bit, but they're going to have to shoot like they did in record-breaking, so I don't know if that's going to be able to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be more of a defensive game than the last game. So, I mean, it's going to come down to, Klay Thompson and Kyrie and how much you can limit him. No one's going to be able to limit LeBron. LeBron's going to keep on doing what he's doing. I feel like he's going to see a lot of double teams today, though, so we might see more decision-making coming from other people. I feel like Golden State's going to have a good game plan against LeBron, but same thing might go for KD for the Cavs. They might double team him. They might find ways to limit his production as well. So I feel it's going to be more defensive, but I still think Golden State's the better defensive team, and they pull it out today.
I agree with both of you right now. I do agree that Golden State pulls this out. I don't think there's a chance that Steph goes 2 for 9 from 3. Klay goes 4 for 10 from 3. KD also goes 2 for 9 from 3. And Draymond only went 1 for 6. There's no way this team that's that good shooting threes can shoot all so poorly in the same night. They're going back home. They're going to a place where they're very comfortable, a place they're very dominant. They don't lose very often at home. I do think those three-point shooting percentages are better, but if you look at Cleveland, especially in past series, Kevin Love has exploded in the first quarters of games, and Kyrie has done a very good job finishing. If LeBron and the Cavs want to win this series, he's going to need Kevin Love to start off hot and Kyrie to end very well. I don't think it's going to happen tonight. I think this is the biggest game of Kevin Durant's career. He needs to be the finisher. He needs to prove that why he signed with the Warriors was a great idea to win a championship. I am picking the Warriors are going to win by about 8, but I don't think all 4 of the big 4 in Golden State are going to shoot all that poorly in the same night.
Now, I want to ask you guys about the officiating in Game 4. How did you guys feel about the officiating? I know a lot of people had things to say. I want to hear. I know, Walt, you and I were chatting before we got on air. What did you guys take away from the officiating in Game 4?
I'll let you go first, Kyle.
I mean, I just don't think it was really, it was very good. I mean, I just don't, compared to the first 2 games, I just don't see it really be that bad again. I mean, I just think that it got pretty chippy at the end, as you know. But they kind of had that under control in a sense. It wasn't really that. It was more the fouls that weren't being called and things like that. We're kind of looking at the video here of Durant and LeBron going at it, and how it got chippy between them two. I think all in all, the refs kept that part of it intact. But I mean, some of those calls were horrendous, and hopefully we don't see the same tonight.
Yeah, I just think the last game got a little bit too out of hand. And the referees, I mean, they can't really let that happen 2 games in a row. So, but last game, I don't know. It just seemed like from the opening tip, it was going to be called called very chippy. So, I didn't agree with the calls that were made. I mean, you had that questionable double technical for Draymond. Like apparently he had 2, but apparently he didn't. So, I feel like the referees had a little bit of confusion there. But I mean, I just hope this game is more about the basketball game itself than rather about the calls that were being made or weren't being made. So
what helped was a lot of guys towards the end of the first quarter had 2 fouls on them already. So when they tried playing aggressive, trying to slow LeBron down, they couldn't be as aggressive because he already had 2 fouls on him. So, I mean, if you're Golden State, you got to keep it physical, but you can't be so aggressive, causing stupid fouls that you shouldn't be doing. Now, if I'm someone like Draymond Green, I got to play extremely smart tonight because the officials made it known that if he goes after them, they will call him for a technical. Now, he's very lucky that Steve Curry's very loud. You see him get very angry very often on the bench, that he screamed right in front of one of the side judges that saved Draymond from the ability to play tonight. But I do expect it to be physical, but Draymond's got to relax, or Golden State's going to be in a lot of trouble very early.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in the idea that the best officiated games are the ones where you don't notice the refs. And Game 4, it was hard not to notice the referees. They had their imprints just all over the entire thing. Yep. I think Cleveland shot 20 free throws in the first quarter. The first quarter spanned almost an hour long. And, when you watch a game like that, people start to speculate. There's theories about the series being rigged, the interest of making more money. I'm not in that camp. I just think that referees are just like players. They have bad games. And I was telling Walt, Mark Davis was one of the guys reffing Game 4. And he's probably one of the worst referees in the NBA, in my opinion. I mean, every time I watch a game where this guy is reffing, it just seems to be some issue. He has a very, very massive ego, which makes it hard for the players to talk to him and kind of be demonstrative. I think Draymond, and I don't know if you guys remember the whole ordeal where Draymond got ejected and he was assessed a technical. Well, he just went like that. And I mean, you're talking about Game 4, NBA Finals, potential to sweep, capture your second title in 3 years. You have to let these guys show emotion. I mean, these games are permeated with emotion. You're talking about the highest stakes, a team that has played each other for the 3rd consecutive time in the championship. These guys clearly do not like each other. So you have to let these guys express themselves. Basketball, the beauty of basketball is that it's an expressive game. So you can't expect these guys to filter their emotions. I mean, to some extent, yes, but on this stage, no. And I just think I'm not sure who's reffing the game tonight, what crew it is, but I'm hoping maybe we get Danny Crawford because Danny Crawford is one of the best out there. So we'll see. But
I mean, how many people, especially in this series throughout the playoffs, you see not react to getting called for a foul?
Yeah, I mean it's very, very rare, and you see teams all the time lobbying for better calls or for a call to go their way. It's really not a typical something that if you watch the NBA a lot, you've grown accustomed to seeing, maybe from some teams more than others or some players more than others. Hello LA Clippers and Chris Paul, but it's in most cases it's league wide. So I mean it's not something that bothers me, but I think the officiating was bad on both sides. I'm not just saying it was bad for the Warriors. It was bad on both sides, but I think we'll see a much improved crew tonight reffing this game. But I like the fact that you guys alluded to the Cavaliers' physicality because I think that's what kind of tilted the game in their favor. I mean, when I was watching that game, I was watching Curry off the ball a lot, and he was really in a straitjacket, and they were allowed to be physical with him and kind of rough him up. And I think, in my opinion, it knocked him off his rhythm a little bit. And we'll see how he bounces back tonight. But speaking of Curry, I want to ask you guys this. Who is we obviously know the pressure. There's an enormous amount of pressure on these Warriors tonight to win this game. You do not want to go back to Cleveland, Game 6 in the land. Like, imagine that flight back to Cleveland. Like, if they lose tonight, imagine that flight for them from a mental standpoint. So I want to ask you guys, who is there more pressure on tonight from an individual standpoint? Is it Steph or is it KD?
Durant.
What makes you say? Why do you say KD? You know, no hesitation. You said it. So I want to ask you, why do you say KD?
This is the biggest game of Kevin Durant's career. Kevin Durant in this offseason was up 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder. They blew that lead, and then after Game 7, I mean, free agency happened and all. He made the decision to sign with the Golden State Warriors. He signed with them to win a title. He does not have one yet. He's been under the most scrutiny this entire year through the media, through the NBA world, because he made that decision to sign with Golden State. He has to finish tonight's game. He is under the more pressure than anyone else to win this series. He made the decision to go to Golden State. He's got to finish with a title.
It's a little closer for me because like I could see where with Curry, there's pressure on him being a 2-time unanimous MVP, not finishing off the deal last year. Obviously with Durant, as Walt was saying, he does not have a title, and he was not able to win one in 2012. So he's been waiting 5 years since then to be able to have this opportunity again. And if they do lose tonight, that opportunity could have potentially slipped, but in all likelihood, it may not, as the teams that go down 3-0 in the NBA playoffs are 0-126 lifetime. That's a pretty staggering history against you if you're the Cavaliers, if I must say. But I think with it's Durant just because of what he did to leave the Thunder and join the Warriors, a team that was already crafted this way, organically through the draft. And it's a super team, but I think around for a while. Obviously, it's a different way now of how teams are becoming super teams versus organically through the draft. In the past is how teams got really good. There's always the adding the one more player. It wasn't the LeBron type of getting these guys all in one area, or the Celtics, or how KD, discussed with and Draymond about how he wanted to go there. And so I think, it's KD, but I think there's a lot of pressure on Curry too, because he's, he got a lot of heat for the last few games of last year's finals. He wants to finish it off strong.
No, I'm gonna say Steph, because he's kind of taken some of the limelight away from Steph. Steph probably doesn't mind some of the workload that he's had to take on for the past year. Probably that helps him, but I feel like Steph needs to prove himself as one of the best players in the NBA. KD's obviously taken over that argument, but Steph wants to prove himself as well. So I feel like he wants to close it out just as much as KD. And like BJ said, they were shutting him down the whole second half, so he wasn't able to get going the whole game. So this is probably a game he wants to crowd and kind of prove to the NBA world again who he is and why he was a 2-time MVP. So I feel like this is more of a chance for, so to say.
Yeah, I tweeted from our account earlier that this is KD's game. He needs to come in and prove why Golden State brought him in here. They brought him in here for a reason. We know the story that's been circulating the last few days. Draymond got in the car after Game 7, made that call to KD and said, "Listen, man, we need you. We need you right now. We need you next season. We need you to win these championships." So, KD obviously denied that, but it's fun. It's fun to pretend. So let's just for the hell of it pretend it did happen. So with that, all that being said,
why wouldn't you if you were Draymond?
KD needs to come out right now tonight, set the tone. I felt like in the beginning of Game 4, he was kind of tentative. I feel like all the Warriors were on their heels. I feel like they were all tentative, but I feel like Kevin Durant was kind of overly passive, and that's not the Kevin Durant we've seen in the 3 games the Warriors have won. That's not the Kevin Durant we've seen excel playing this sport, throughout his entire career. He's at his best when he's the aggressor, when he's right at you, when he's forcing the issue, when he's looking to score. And I mean, Kevin Durant, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well in Game 4, but he hasn't really had a bad finals game in this series. He's been making all the right plays, whether passing, shooting, scoring, defensively. He's been rebounding. He's been blocking shots. I know Walt mentioned that Durant has been doing an excellent job of protecting the rim. He said he's basically the Warriors' rim protector, and he has been, and he's thrived at it this series. So I want to see Kevin Durant come out and play a multifaceted game where he's doing things here, there. He's just doing things everywhere, and it seems like he has 1,000 arms. And I think if that is to be the case, I think that frees up Curry, and you just get into this nightmarish scenario for the Cavaliers where everything just kind of begins to free fall. And we know how Golden State can go on those runs where you're down 4, and then 3 trips later you're down 12, you're down 13. So I just think that tonight we're going to see an aggressive Kevin Durant and aggressive Stephen Curry. I think it's going to be a two-headed monster type of attack, kind of what we saw from Kyrie and LeBron in Game 4, just both setting the tone for their teammates and everyone else following suit. I think we get a cameo from Klay, whether it be for a quarter or two. But I think we're underrating the amount of pressure that is on Draymond Green as well. I mean, he was talking some big trash about the Patriots of Cleveland after Game 4. We saw him going like this, asking for the boos, kind of begging for him to fuel him and fuel his team. But aside from the defensive side of the ball, have you noticed Draymond Green on offense that much this series for Golden State?
Not really.
In Game 4, he scored more points than Steph and Klay.
Right.
He had 16 points and 14 rebounds in Game 4. Other than that, not really. He's averaging around 10 points a game throughout the finals. He's letting KD, Steph, and Klay Thompson do most of the scoring. Offensively, I agree with you. I really haven't seen much from him, but the most I've seen from him was in Game 4.
I think Draymond needs to come out and back up his talk tonight and play well. I'm not saying 20 points, 25 points. Save that for the guys who it's easy for. Save that for the guys who were brought here to do that, and Steph and Klay and KD. But I want to see Draymond have one of those games where you're just like, wow, this guy is so good. And it stands out. He's doing everything, and he's chirping, and he's barking, and he's making those big defensive plays, and he's making the right passes and initiating the offense, and he's knocking down a 3 or 2 and pulling off a nice post move.
The thing is, he was averaging over 6 assists per game in the first 3 games. They limited him to 4. They weren't letting KD be aggressive on the boards. He only had 4 rebounds.
Yeah, he did
a really good job preventing them from doing the extra thing that they are normally known to do. Draymond, you don't think of as a passer, but he does get a lot of assists. KD's not an aggressive rebounder, but he will get you 8-ish rebounds per game just because he's so tall. Cleveland did a good job preventing them from doing so, which led to Steph and Klay not exactly have the best game 4. So, I mean, Cleveland had a perfect game plan to shut these guys down at home with that crowd behind them. But I agree with you. If Draymond can do those extra things, do the dirty work that he's known for doing, I don't think Cleveland has a chance.
Well, do you think that it's also because Klay has come on so strong offensively? I mean, 2 and 3. Or was it more just 3? I mean, in Game 1, I know he didn't play well offensively.
Yeah,
Game
Game 3, he went absolutely nuts.
Yeah, so I mean,
that was Klay Thompson's best game.
Yeah. So I just think, I guess that game, in a sense, was the one that would have taken away from Draymond's offensive ability. But, I mean, he's still, like as Alex said, he's still being formidable, but I think it's how he takes care of it, on the offensive side of the ball more than anything else than defensively.
Yeah, I mean, Draymond hasn't really been a great offensive player his whole career. I mean, he's only averaging, I think, 9 points per game in his whole career. So, I mean, he's not known for his scoring, but it's more known for, his IQ and like knowing when to make the right, like the smart pass, like BJ said. Like he's more of the defender in that aspect. He can just hold the offense to their own standards and kind of expect 20 a game from Clay, Steph, and KD. And then you got players like, people forget that Iguodala is as productive on defense as anybody else that comes in off the bench. So, I mean, you got to look at that when Draymond and Iguodala are both on the floor together. And Clay, I mean, that's like one of the best defensive teams that you can put out against like the Cavs.
Well,
So I mean, in that aspect, but like in Draymond, like you just know that he's gonna, you know what you're gonna get on defense. It's just what you're gonna get on offense on a given day.
Draymond had his highest point total and lowest assist total in Game 4, and Golden State's offense looked by far its worst. When he was averaging over 6 assists and like 9 points, their offense was incredible. He'd get the ball in the low post, they'd crash in, he'd kick it out to a wide open Clay, and he'd make it. When the ball is consistently moving, you watch when the Celtics played him in Game 3. When they were moving the ball, they beat him. When they played iso ball in Game 4 just to catch up, and it was killing them. They got to do those extra passes because that's how you beat Cleveland. Their defense really isn't that great. They're a very beatable defense. They were passing the ball. They were playing aggressive. That's why they beat Golden State. Golden State wasn't playing their game the other day, and that's why they won. And another thing, no one really talks about, J.R. Smith had 15 points.
5 threes.
That's more points than he's had in the other 3 games combined. He only had 2 points or 3 points and 2 assists in the first 2 games combined. He stepped up big time in a time where they really needed him.
Everything that had went wrong for Cleveland in the first 3 games literally went right in Game 4. It's just like the flip of a switch. JR wasn't hitting. Role players weren't hitting. Kyrie was struggling. Tristan wasn't getting rebounds. Game 4, everything just seemed to rectify itself. Tristan Thompson came out with a burst of energy, crashed the glass early, fought for extra possessions. Kyrie and LeBron were both spectacular. Kevin Love, had a very strong game that went under the radar. Like Walt just said, JR had 5 threes. So I just look at this and I'm just like, man, Cleveland played damn near a perfect game. And Golden State just looked like crap. They were knocked on their heels. It looked like they were just punched in the mouth. And usually we kind of see them stagger a little bit when they get that initial punch, but they're able to recover and kind of ease their way back into the fight and start to send haymakers of their own. But it just seems like that initial punch that Cleveland threw had them dazed for the entire contest. And every time that they got within striking distance or they began to threaten, Cleveland made the right play to put themselves back in the comfortable position in terms of a lead where they were the majority of the game. And I just think that Golden State tonight is ready for that punch. They're ready for that blow. They're going to play with a lot more desperation. And I'm just expecting, and people are saying Cavs in 7, and that's cute and that's fine. And it's great to have hope. But I mean, you gotta think about it realistically. How bad did Golden State play in Game 4? And midway, or like about midway, a little bit more through the fourth quarter, they were still in the game. So I mean, Curry knocks down two or 3 more threes. Klay Thompson makes 1 or 2 more open threes. Draymond doesn't get into foul trouble. And instead of a 12-point game, you're talking about 6. You're talking about 5. So I mean, it's great for Cleveland that they were able to get a game, stave off the embarrassment of being swept. But like I said, damn near everything had to go their way for them to win. And they are not getting 20 free throws again in the first quarter in Golden State. I don't see JR knocking down 5 threes and staying attentive on defense. Cleveland's best hope tonight is to just play with the same brand of physicality and to slow down the game. And like Walt said, play ISO basketball. That's what they thrive at. That's where things seem to go in their favor. They put Curry in that pick and roll. They let LeBron go at him. They let Kyrie go at him. And you just hope for your top dogs to give you another day to fight.
Absolutely. You can't beat the Warriors. I look at it this way. You can't beat them the same way twice in a row. I mean, they're going to defend the 3 pretty well tonight. So it's going to be how isolate themselves, individually to, score the basket or score the ball. Like I think Kyrie needs to step up and have a big game when it comes to that type of play. So we'll see.
I mean, in elimination games, that's when Kyrie's his best.
Right.
And apparently, no, go ahead, Walt.
He has well over 20 points. He's assisting the ball like crazy when it matters most. If they get that Kyrie, that's what LeBron needs. LeBron had that Wade back in the day. He had Bosh hitting clutch threes like Kevin Love is right now. He's always had those guys doing the right thing. And another thing I was about to say, the big four in Golden State combined 9 for 34 from the three-point line in Cleveland. That's not going to happen tonight.
That's crazy.
Well, it's funny how you mentioned Kyrie shines in elimination games because according to our Twitter, it seems like that's where Curry struggles. In his last 5 NBA Finals elimination games, Curry's averaging 22 points, 37% from the field, and 32.3% from three. So with that being said, who closes out this game tonight with more points, Kyrie or Curry, and why?
Kyrie.
I think Kyrie because I think Durant's going to go crazy.
Say it again, BJ. What's the question? So
in tonight's closeout game, who's going to have the better game tonight in Game 5? Kyrie or Curry?
I think Curry does.
It's close. I think they have a pretty
I think
even
it's a
game.
blowout, so there you go.
I think they're pretty much even games. I think they both average around like mid-20s, like low 30s. They're both capable of Atlanta struggle, but we'll see. I think they average about close to the same.
Warriors are pretty motivated to win it at home. They were not able to do that 2 years ago, so it'd be something special.
They've never won a championship at home. I think they've won five or six titles in their franchise history. They've never won any of them at home. So I think they're understanding that tonight, that they have a chance to give their fans and their franchise something that has yet to be done.
How many points do you think KD's going to take away from Steph?
I mean, I think the game. I don't think it's going to be that close of a game, so that's why I think Steph will still have a good game. Well,
I'm not saying he's not going to have a good game. I just think Kyrie can have more points.
Yeah, and I guess
Kyrie.
I was going to say it doesn't necessarily mean it's a better game. I guess we'll see.
Again.
No,
but I think
he's going to have Steph will be in the 30s along with Kyrie.
LeBron's going to be around there too. I think Klay Thompson has to be better than J.R. Smith. That's pretty fair.
See, it's a lot more necessary for Kyrie to have a big scoring game than Steph, because if Kyrie doesn't, unless somebody else is going bonkers, it most likely means that Cleveland's season ends tonight. So
There's no bench production on Cleveland.
I think Kyrie will have the better game tonight, but I don't necessarily think that means that Cleveland is going to win. I just think that it's a lot more necessary for him to have the better game. But we actually have a question from our guy Felix, and he says, answer me this: which role player on either team has the biggest game tonight?
Iguodala.
Yeah, I think it's a guy like Iguodala that steps up. I mean, for the Cavs,
like Iguodala wants it the most because of that block last year.
I think if DJ,
Game 7, LeBron stuffed him from behind. I feel like that's motivation for him to just want to get back and win that game. That was such a crazy play last year. LeBron stuffed him, and then that changed the motivation towards the end of the game. Kyrie hit the 3, and Cleveland won the title. I think Iggy's going to be extremely motivated. I agree with you guys. If you look at Cleveland, their best bench player has been Richard Jefferson. He played 22 minutes, 10 more minutes than any other player off the bench. He did have 8 points, but
dude, I was saying, me and BJ were talking about it earlier.
I can't think of maybe Shumpert. I can't think of any of their role players that could really step up and take a huge role.
I think Korver is a guy that needs to. Seriously, his minutes have been reduced since game 1 because he was just so bad in game 1, and that's the guy. If the Warriors want to have a fighting chance, or to be able to make the comeback, I think a guy like Korver coming out of nowhere hitting 4 threes is someone like that you'd never expected. I mean, that's what they signed him for, right? Like, imagine if he just made they traded for him. like the biggest step up would be tonight for him because he has not had a good finals this far.
Probably someone like Channing Frye too, because if you think about it, like we're ignoring the fact that someone like a big from Cleveland might be in foul trouble, so you might need someone to complement that. And if Kevin Love gets in foul trouble, you might want to combat that with Channing Frye, who can do pretty much the same things as Kevin Love can do. And we saw Channing Frye get hot last year against someone like Frye who just hit some clutch buckets and some timely baskets as well.
All right, Chuck, I got a couple more questions real quick before we wrap up. So this one pertains to the Cavs. True or false? Tristan Thompson plays 25 minutes or more tonight. He's able to stay on the floor.
God.
After last game, I don't know.
I mean, his 10 rebounds were huge.
Huge.
He got his assists. He had 5. That's more than normal. But I think if they got to pick up the pace in certain situations, like if Cleveland's down, they're going to have to pull him. They're going to have to bring in a big that can shoot. They're going to ask Kevin Love to get more rebounds, spread the floor. Maybe that's when a guy like Channing Frye comes in, make a big in a big moment like that. 25 though, I mean, I don't think if it's that, I don't think it's much more.
I'm going to say false just
because how the game starts. I do believe Golden State's going to come out hot. 25 is a tough number. I'm going to say like 28, but I'm not going above that.
I'm going to say false just because, as Walt made a good point, it's all depends on how the game goes, and I think that Cleveland's going to be playing catch-up the whole game. So I think that they're going to be trying to shoot the lights out. Not shoot the – you know what I mean? I think they're going to be trying to play catch-up and trying to score more, so they're going to be playing more up-tempo, and that's not fitting Tristan's game, so I think it's going to be less.
Yeah, I agree with that because, I mean, Tristan Thompson's a liability on offense. So, I mean, you can't really have someone out there who's not producing as much. And you'll probably get second chance points with Tristan, but, I mean, at what expense? Right. You're probably just going to end up – I'm going to say less just because of what you said. I mean, they're probably going to – Golden State's probably going to come out hot offensively, and Tristan Thompson's going to be pretty cold coming off the bench. So I'm going to say less, but it's going to be slightly less. It's going to be close to 25.
All right. On the Golden State side of the spectrum, true or false, Steph Curry and KD combined for at least 60 points.
True.
I say true because I think Durant's having 37.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 30.
I think Curry can have a below average game and they'd still reach that number.
Yeah, I think Durant just goes off.
As I said earlier, this is the biggest game of Kevin Durant's career. I think this is the time where he needs to be the best Kevin Durant possible. And he had 35 points last game, and he shot 2 for 9 from 3.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Like 60, 65.
Bless you, my man.
I'd say the same because, I mean, like you said, you're not asking a lot. Like, if one of them underperforms, the other one's just going to come right back at it. I mean, if they don't get to 60, I mean, they're going to ask a lot from Klay Thompson. I mean, he's going to pretty much have to carry the load if they don't perform as well. So, I mean, I say over, but, I mean, Klay Thompson can pretty much pick up the slack wherever they miss.
All right, last question before we get into score predictions. So LeBron, if I'm not mistaken, still is averaging a triple-double in these finals. True or false? He finishes tonight's game with a triple-double and ends the NBA Finals averaging a triple-double.
True. I think he does just because he's going to be trying to do it. I mean, and he can. And who are we to say that's stupid for him to do? He's got to do what his team needs him to do, and that's score in every facet and help the team in every facet by assist and rebound. So I think that's something he definitely achieves tonight, but I just think it's going to be playing in a game of catch-up, so that's why.
Yeah, I agree. If you think about it, in Game 3, they almost won that too, and he was just as productive as he was in Game 4. So, I mean, Obviously it's working. So, I mean, whatever he has to do to get that, like, W, then, I mean, he's gonna do whatever he has to do, doing what he's been doing. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why he won't average a triple-double.
I mean, if they're playing catch-up, that means he's going to be responsible to get more rebounds. You know he's going to score more than 10 points. and he has the ball in his hand so much that puts him in a position to get assists. He's done it in this series before where the team has gotten blown out, and he's still gotten his triple-double even though the team wasn't playing as well as it could have been. So I do believe he's going to end with a triple-double because he has the opportunity to do it because of the way he plays.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling a triple-double from Bron tonight. I just think that these games, it calls for him to do so much that if he's not hovering around that territory, it's just like, does Cleveland even have a chance? And the crazy thing is, it's like in most of these games, I feel like he was like at least a quarter of a way, if not half, to those numbers in the first quarter. Like he's coming out and scoring 8, 9, 10, 12 points in the first quarter, getting 6 rebounds in the first quarter, getting 4 assists, 5 assists in the first quarter. And I just think that he understands this moment. He's going to come out with a sense of urgency and set the tone for his team. Now, will that be enough to overcome Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry being backed by the energy of Oracle? I mean, they call Oracle Roracle. If there was any other time to say that nickname, it's tonight. That building is going to be loud. Like that building is going to be charged up. The last time they watched an NBA Finals elimination game on their floor was Game 7. So they're ready for business. They're ready to back their team. I hope that the Warriors don't come out, super emotionally charged and it kind of throws them off their kilter. I don't think that will be the case. I think we're dealing with a team this season that's a lot more solid mentally. There's more of a laser sharp focus. But I think LeBron is going to be in that area again tonight. And I mean, you can't fault the guy if he is to lose this series. He's done everything that he's possibly can. This Warriors team is just a juggernaut. And you're talking about Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. And we've heard the praises. Jeff Van Gundy called them possibly the most dynamic offensive duo we've seen. There's just nothing that on the court they can't do. And they just overwhelm you in terms of shooting and athletic ability and scoring. It's just they continue to just throw jabs and jabs and jabs. And it's really something remarkable to watch. But with that being said, we're gonna get ready to lock in and get settled in and get prepared for this game. So I want to ask you guys real quick, final score prediction. Will the Warriors be crowned champs, or will we be heading back to the land for a Game 6 that'll sure to dominate the conversation of the sporting world until Wednesday?
I'm thinking the Warriors win 121-102 with their second title in 3 years.
I'm going to say Warriors win, but like I said, it's going to be more defensive. So I'm going to say around 104 to around 90 Warriors.
I'm going 115-107 Golden State. And it's going to be very close until about 2 minutes left. And then it's going to kind of be like Game 3, where it was close. Then Kevin Durant hit the 3, and then they got a little bit of space towards the end of the game and I think they won by 5. I think this time they're going to win by 7, but it's going to be an extremely close game. And then someone like Steph or KD is going to hit a big shot.
I think it's going to be one of those games where it's tightly contested throughout, and I just think Cleveland just sputters at the end. They run out of gas. They're just Golden State shows. I think Golden State shows why down the stretch of this game why it is theirs for the taking. And it's ironic because they haven't been the greatest in terms of late game execution all season long. But I think that tonight they're going to shut all the haters up, and we can finally. I'm not a Warriors fan by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's Lakers all day, but I was sick and tired. Like I was ready to punt my phone, my computer. I was ready to just scream if I saw one more 3-1 comment in any comment section, any reply section on any NBA video graphic topic. Like, I was ready to pull out the little hair that I have in my head out. Like, I was going to walk around looking like Lil Bill, man. Like, I was sick, and I can only fathom what the slander, like how intolerable would the slander be if they were to blow a 3-0 lead. Like, I would probably take a Twitter hiatus just until the summer league. Like, I wouldn't be able to stomach it. It's just, oh my goodness, those jokes just grew too old. But I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate you guys hopping on with me. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Let's get ready for Game 5. Will there be a Game 6? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it because it means I get to sit down and rap with y'all again about hoops. But something tells me that the season ends tonight. So for my guys, Randy, Kyle, and Walt, this is BJ Boyer, Basketball Society, another preview show wrapping up. Make sure you hit us on Twitter during the game. We'll be tweeting highlights, thoughts, analysis, all that good stuff. Make sure you hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Just search Basketball Society. You'll find us. Nobody can imitate this swag. One love, y'all. Enjoy the game.